Due to ShowPro's aggressive copyright takedown policy, this re-upload will be audio only, with the fully edited version available to my patrons, link in the description below. And so we enter the first of the films from the Pokemon Advance saga, Jirachi Wishmaker. This is actually the oldest Pokemon movie that I had yet to see before starting this video series, and considering that I remember the other three Hoenn films being somewhat competent, I was expecting something similar from this film. Did it manage to meet my expectations? Let's take a look. Every 1,000 years, the Millennium Comet appears in the sky, and with it comes the arrival of the legendary wish-granting Pokemon, Jirachi. Ash and friends happen to be celebrating the Comet Festival, and during a magic show in which the sleeping Jirachi is present, Jirachi calls out to Max hoping to become friends with him, which they quickly do once Jirachi finally awakens. But things are not as they seem with the magician known as the Great Butler, and his plans may spell disaster for everyone involved. Okay, let's not mince words here. This movie is bad. Like, really bad. What struck me right away was how awful all the characters are throughout the film. Max was his typical self-centered and snobby self, so I was kind of expecting that, but the rest of the main cast act just as childishly. There's literally a scene where all of them are pulling on Jirachi because they want to make a wish, even though Jirachi is a living, breathing Pokemon that was openly expressing that their actions were causing him pain. It's unbelievable how awful everyone acts throughout this movie. Jirachi really isn't that great a selling point either. He's basically the same as Celebi in Forever, a cute mascot character with no personality. Only this time he speaks in complete sentences instead of annoying chirps. The main villain is also pretty flat and uninteresting, and when they reveal his backstory and show why he's trying to harness Jirachi's power, it only makes him look like a fool because what he did in the past was just kinda stupid, so it's almost impossible to feel any sympathy for him. The only characters that I really enjoyed throughout the movie were the fan favorite Pokemon. Absol is awesome because, well, it's an Absol, and watching him kick ass was pretty entertaining, and seeing Flygon in action is always a plus, but none of this really makes the movie any better. It also just occurred to me about halfway through that during the entire movie, they only used Jirachi's power to make one wish near the beginning. Not a single wish is made throughout the entire rest of the film, which begs the question of why are we even using Jirachi in the first place? There is so much lost potential here in terms of Jirachi's capabilities, considering that the only thing Jirachi does in the movie is teleport stuff. As someone whose Sapphire team revolved entirely around my Jirachi, the wasted potential actually makes me kind of angry. In general, the movie just kind of feels like a sequence of events rather than a complete narrative. There's no unifying idea or cohesive message that ties everything together. It's just a chaotic mess of cause and effect that leads us to one of the most underwhelming finales I've ever seen from a Pokemon film. Yeah, that's not really a Groudon, so don't get your hopes up. And if I hear someone say that they need to reverse the polarity in order to fix everything one more time, there is no wish-granting Pokemon on this planet that can stop my wrath. There was one scene where Ash explains to Max about how sometimes our friends have to leave us, and having him reference one of the best characters in the series did manage to mostly sell his message. But this is pretty much the only time in this movie that actually feels like an idea is being presented. In contrast to the story, the animation is actually pretty alright. It at least tries to have the same movie quality as the other films before it. The color balance is pretty nice, and it's actually improved its use of CG. Well, mostly. Even with these positive elements, the movie still finds some stuff to fuck up though, particularly the editing. There were so many shots where I was thrown off completely because of how misplaced the cut was, and sometimes I literally had to pause the movie and reorient myself. That's just plain incompetence. This is the part where I'm supposed to talk about the soundtrack, but I honestly can't remember any of it. Not even the tracks that I'm pretty sure were recycled from the TV series. Jirachi Wishmaker is easily the worst Pokemon film up to this point. There's probably at least one later on that could be worse, but as of now, I'm just completely awestruck at the sheer level of incompetence on display in this film, and I recommend that you stay as far away from this one as possible. Fortunately, tomorrow's video will focus on a film that I remember actually liking, Destiny Deoxys, so hopefully I don't end up as disappointed as I am now. And don't forget to check out my other content while you wait. Special thanks to Jan Rogalski, Rourke Tenjoin, JJJ User, and all my other patrons for their generous support. My name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.